welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
And I'm Costa.
So Chris, I was thinking today we could talk about inventory, specifically the differences between the estimating unit cost and then also the on-hand unit cost in inventory.
Okay, that sounds very good.
Let's just briefly discuss it for a minute. You have in the item itself, you have an estimating unit cost, and we could take a look at that in a minute. And that's the cost that's going to be used in an estimate or an order to calculate how much that material is going to cost in that estimate or order. And then it'll be marked up from there.
Sure.
You also have an on-hand unit cost. Now that cost is the value of your inventory that you have on hand in your warehouse.
Right.
Okay, and they could be the same, but they could be different for a few different reasons. So we can take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So let's come over here. I have on this screen, I have inventory opened, and I'm looking at some standard items, particularly some items that are in my proofing materials category here. I've got 6 or 7 items here. If I highlight the item, you can see at the bottom here the estimating unit cost of $3.94. If I modify the item, you'll see it here. This is where you enter it, this $3.94, and you'll see that it's a costing method of per each. So it's telling me that for each piece of material it's $3.94. You'll also see on the left here a primary valuation. The primary valuation, we have 4 kinds. We have standard, Lifo, Fifo, and average. Standard valuation means that the value of your inventory, what you have on hand, is going to be the value at the last time you received it. So if you created a purchase order and you received $1,000 at $3.94, then that's going to be your value of the inventory, all your inventory in stock.
Right.
The next time you receive it, say it's $4.05. Well, now all that you have in inventory, even stuff you received a long time ago, is going to be valued at $4.05. That's standard.
Okay.
Lifo and Fifo, which is last in, first out, those will keep separate records for every receipt, every transaction made to your on-hand inventory. That way, if you receive inventory at $3.94, a certain quantity, it'll put a record in for that quantity at $3.94. If a month from now you receive 1,000 more at $4.05, it's going to keep a record of 1,000 at $4.05. So you'll have multiple records
Okay. That
for
makes
both
sense.
Lifo and Fifo.
All right.
And the last one is average, and it just kind of does like standard. It'll be one record, but instead of the last cost received, it's going to average all of the receipts
Okay.
together and give you the average. Okay?
All right. So how would the estimating unit cost get updated then?
Okay.
Or would it?
It would. It can get updated a couple of different ways. You might update it manually. If you find out your price has changed, it can also get updated by the program. So let's
Okay.
take a look.
Sure.
I'm going to cancel out of here, and I'm going to go into standards for a minute. So I'm going to open the File Maintenance module. I'm going to go to File, System Settings, and I'm going to go to the PO Inventory Shipping tab. You'll notice this first checkbox in this area is Do Not Update Estimate Unit Cost from PO Receipt. By default, that's unchecked, and what that means is when you make a receipt in purchasing, it'll automatically update the estimating unit cost to the cost you just received it
I
at.
see. Right.
So you're getting the latest cost automatically. Some people would prefer to do that manually, and they'll check that off, and they'll update the cost themselves manually
Right.
when they know there's a change.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think most people probably have that unchecked.
Actually, I think I don't know, it's probably half and half.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's really a personal preference, but it's nice to have the program do it for you automatically if you're using purchasing, and some people aren't.
Right. Okay. Now what about on-hand unit costs? Would those get updated automatically anyway?
Well, those will get set, when you make a PO receipt, they get set based on the receipt, or when you ship to inventory, they get set by the value you put in when you ship, if you're making shells, for example, and you're shipping to inventory.
Okay.
But mistakes can be made.
Sure.
So there are times that they can get in there incorrectly.
Okay.
Okay. So let's take a look at maybe what you would do if you needed to correct.
If you need it, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's come back
Okay.
to Enterprise, and I'm going to cancel out of here. And we'll get out of standards, and we'll go back into inventory. And I'm going to print out the on-hand report under the reports module, the on-hand value report, and that will show me what the value is of my material on hand, and I'll just do it for this particular category, my proofing materials. Now, when you select the category, when you print this report, even if it's for all categories, you have a choice of selecting the valuation method. If you choose unit cost, it'll print out this report for whatever valuation method you're using, because, I mean, most people, you're gonna use the same valuation method on all items, but you
Right.
might not. You might have a different valuation method for a certain category. Choosing unit cost will give you the value of your inventory for whatever valuation method is set on the items.
Okay,
If you wanted to see, well, what would my inventory be if I use LIFO or FIFO or average, you could pick a different one.
right.
Okay, so I'm going to choose unit cost, and I'm going to print it out for this category. And this is going to show me the value of my inventory. Now I can see here, I'm looking at each item, and all of a sudden I see this one doesn't look right. I have 165 quantity, and I know they're not worth that much each, so this looks suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go to this item, my deluxe proof material, and I'm going to click on this ellipsis button next to the quantity on hand, which will show me in detail the records I have. Now I'm using FIFO, so I have 2 records, keeping track of how many I received at different times, and it looks here like somebody made a mistake. Now that could have
Right.
happened if they received it and typed in a receipt cost incorrectly, or they transferred or made an adjustment and put the price in correctly.
Right.
So now let's go look at how we can fix it.
Okay,
To fix that, I can go over to the Transactions tab, and with the item selected on this side, when I go over to the Transactions tab, I can say Show a specific item, and it's going to show me transactions just for this item. And what I want to do is I want to make an adjustment. Adjustments will make corrections. And I'm going to click on Add to add an adjustment. And the first thing I want to do is hit the On Hand button at the bottom of this screen and select the record that I want to adjust. So I'm going to, this first record's the one I want to adjust. It's the highlighted record. So I'm going to hit Select. It's going to bring in the bad unit cost. And I can come in here and just type in the correct unit cost. It brings in the on-hand code so it knows which one I'm correcting. And I actually don't want to adjust the quantity, so I'm going to leave that at 0. And I'm going to click OK. And it asks me if I want to do another adjustment. I'm going to say no. Now I can go back to items. I can click on this button and my unit cost is corrected. And now when I print the on-hand value report by unit cost, and I'll pick my category. Now that looks much better. You'll see that it's correct.
okay,
Okay. The only other thing to think about is if you are using our accounting modules with the inventory integration,
right.
that will affect your on-hand value. You may need to make a journal entry to
Right.
correct it on the GL side.
Sure. Okay,
Okay.
all right, very good.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I think that explained it.
Thank you.
Very good.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
And I'm Chris Costa.
Please look forward for more to come.